Have you ever tried to book a campsite for tonight? Did you have much luck? We've found a solution to this problem. Welcome to RV Out West. I'm your host, Brooks. My Family of Four's base camp is located in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and our RV adventures radiate out from there. Please grab a mug of coffee and join us as we discuss RVing around the American West. From sweet camping spots, gear and equipment, to tips and tricks, we've got you covered. We are RV Out West. The growing frustration for finding a campsite that is available for the days you want are real, and you are not alone. Even for those folks who are planners, it is becoming increasingly more challenging. Now, imagine that you are wanting to be spontaneous, or perhaps had a recent change in your plans, and you are looking to find a campsite for today. While this may seem impossible, there is a solution. Joining us today is Terry Broussard, the CEO of an app called Spot Tonight that solves this problem. He is going to chat with us about how it works and how their solution is different from other similar styles of apps. Plus, he even shares a few RV tips and tricks with us. Terry, thank you so much for joining us here on RV Out West.
Thank you for having us. I really am excited to share the information about Spot Tonight with your traveling friends.
Yeah, we're excited. Can you tell me a little bit just kind of about your background?
Absolutely. So at the time we started Spot Tonight, I had already owned 2 RVs at that time, and then was coming back in, and I was on my 3rd RV when I realized, oh my gosh, things have really changed since I had an RV when our children were younger. Personally, I'm a retired Air Force nurse. I'm not from the RV industry per se at that time when we started. And so, so that's kind of my background. And over that time, had a passion for camping, and traveling, because really it's about the family time. It's what brought our family together. I think we had a lot of quality time when people could disconnect. And now even if they disconnect, they're kind of boxed in a tight quarters camping.
Can you briefly share with us what Spot Tonight is?
Sure.
How it works and how it's different from other reservation types of apps like CampSpot, Compendium, etc.?
Sure. So when we set out to do Spot Tonight, we realized there was really not a simple look, book, and go app that offered you take the phone off your hip, punch a search button, find a park, and immediately book it in the app. Very much like with the experience that all of us are accustomed to these days with major leading online travel agencies, perhaps say Airbnb, VRBO, and all of these kind of platforms that just make it incredibly easy to find a place of accommodation. And that just didn't exist. Every other system that we looked at, we probably all have 3 or 4 groups in our phones, were directories. So I would have to put in 37 FS, Jayco, Seneca in every single one to get to the bottom of the funnel and find no spots. Then I got to come out and go over to the next one and start matriculating all that information in, no spot. Spot Tonight applies your profile at the top of the heap across all of the connected parks that are in the using reservation systems that we have created, API level integrations, to produce the results that only match your requirements. You don't have to experience that frustration. Once you build your profile, you can really look, book, and go in about 7 clicks.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. What was the experience that led you to creating Spot Tonight with your son-in-law, Sam?
We literally were standing on the side of the RV, and he says, let's go somewhere. And he said, when? And he said, tonight. And I literally handed him a phone and said, start looking. I'll go in and tell my wife, that we're leaving. We're going to find a place to go and see if she wants to go with us, And I came back and said, did you find anything? And he said, no. And he says, it's incredibly complex. And he was really familiar as a, millennial that used a lot more of those apps even than I, because he traveled a lot more corporately. And there's got to be a better way. So we had originally looked at some hard technology. In fact, much like parking lot technology is what we had originally looked. I actually built a test case where I had a little box and some sensors, and I built a parking lot under my driveway. When someone was in it, it would say it was occupied. So I thought that was kind of something to do, but really the hardware was not the way to go, because then we had no integration. So then we got real savvy on all of these reservation systems. and we were off to the races.
Do either you or Sam have much in the way of like software development background and coding and working with APIs? Is that how did that come about to make this software solution work for you guys?
Yeah, so actually my master's is in public administrations with a concentration in information systems. And during the military, I was very much involved in the post-Gulf War syndrome and data aggregation and trying to solve and connect our disconnected hospital systems at the time. Keep in mind, this was in the late 90s, right? So all of that happened. So we realized that integrations is the way to go. And Sam comes from a financial background. He's done a lot of integrations of financial systems. So we knew that we need to aggregate available inventory, presented in a common user picture that would give real-time visibility and immediate booking. Those were our two goals to the traveler who could either pull it out. At first, we started with the iOS platform. Apple was first. We had basically jointly developed the Android platform. And then I think it was like the following year in our timeline, we launched our website at spottonight.com.
And what year was that you launched?
So the first idea was in 19. We had in like October 2019, we had the aha moment. We had a minimally viable product in early 20. And in 21, we were showing that at the first Florida RV show. So the app was live a little bit later in 20. It was not live yet in January 21. I think it was March. We really launched the iOS version of 21.
Okay.
And we progressed from there.
Let me ask you this, with the amount of, or actually, I don't even know, how many different kind of reservation systems are there in existence for campgrounds?
So we looked at some different, when we were getting smart on this, we looked at some different rating systems. There's Capterra, which looks at different software. They do analytics on different platforms. They're not a reservation system. And our first integration was with RMS Cloud. They had an open API, and we basically bought a developer kit, if you will. That's how that started, really. And then each one got sequentially easier as we got more savvy on the endpoints and all of the requirements. It's a lot easier. I would say it's probably a lot easier for the hotel side because it's king, queen, water view or parking lot view.
Right.
You don't have to say, I need a 110 outlet on the right side of my bed. I need to make sure I have running water in the bathroom. There are far more filters required to place an RV on a campground spot than there is to get you in a hotel room.
That absolutely makes sense. And the data that you're getting from these APIs is real time.
Correct. Exactly. I always told the story, those people that come to our booth and I'm explaining and they watch our explainer video, those people that get it, they understand immediately. They have the wow factor like you just had. Wow, like this is really a terminal of sorts of multiple systems, just like those names like VRBO and Airbnb, because they connect you with different platforms. So that's what we do. And so then some people don't get it. They still kind of relate it to a directory. They haven't really experienced it yet. So it's our goal to get them in the app and get them to have that experience that twofold. Number one, hey, honey, I just got off work early. Do you think we can go camping tonight? Boom. Yes, I can find a spot tonight. I've got this new app that Terry showed me, and boom, it'll show what's out there real time tonight. Or, hey, I know we're looking forward. Really, it's really should be Spot Tonight and beyond. We're looking forward, 4th of July. Let's see what's in the app. We want to go here. We want to go to Utah. We want to go to the Northeast. I know those dates will be starting to open up soon. Let's see what's in the app, and let's start looking at some parks and saving them in a trip board that we can then share with our family. One of the features we have is you can punch a button and it will SMS text that park, the exact park, out to your friends and family group or whoever you designate. So if I wanted to say, Brooks, meet me at this park out west, I'm going to be here for then, and I do it in the app and I send that to you, you'll get a link in Spot Tonight that says, oh, that's the exact park that's not the one I was thinking about, or that is the exact park I was thinking about.
What if then, say, you and I were going camping together, our families are going to go, and you've sent me that text saying, hey, here's the Gulf Coast RV resort in your case, but we want to make sure that you and I, our families are going to be camping side by side, right? So that way then it's easier to share the campfire.
Majority of our park owners present us with a map that when we geolocate every spot on that map and drop pins directly to that. So as soon as I send it to you and I say, okay, I'm looking at 27, for instance, spot 27, you'll see 28's available or 26 is available, or you might, you can look at that same park, same map, same time and fire off. And we see that, I'll see that in the reservation flow here. Well, all of a sudden the reservations will pop for one park and I can tell that they're traveling together. It's kind of
fun. That's funny. That's great. Yeah.
It is, because it's like, okay, these are different names. They're traveling together. Or one time I had a gentleman book spots for his son. So he was double booking. And at first I was concerned, okay, is he double booking? Is it a mistake or what? And I reached out to him and he says, oh, no, I'm booking for my son. He's bringing his rig the weekend. And like, we'll be there the whole week, but he's going to be here, the middle of the week.
4 of the days. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as we develop on our storyboards for future growth, it'll be things like that, Rally Master, family booking. And we'll be launching features that will allow you to build a shopping cart, if you will. So you can book your trip and you can add things that are in there that may be available, whether it's a cabin for your parents to meet you there, things like that, so that you don't have to, go out and do that elsewhere.
Interesting. Let me ask you, what were some of kind of your startup obstacles that you and, your team there at Spot Tonight needed to overcome?
Sure. Well, in my first conversations with some of our integration partners, I was told, oh yeah, it was tried before and it didn't work. And basically nobody was really doing it. Everybody was in that model of, a directory, like load your information every time or call the park. The other obstacle is people really didn't know us, right? They didn't know about our capabilities, although we had a very robust development team on our side that felt very confident in their ability to produce that. And then of course, contacting just down something as simple as talking to the park owners, because many of them are using work campers or other people on the desk because they're busy. I mean, it's 1 minute you're picking up the garbage in the morning. Yourself, if you're a single park owner, you're riding around putting out fires, and you have to have someone on the desk managing the ebb and flow of reservations or selling the s'mores or the firewood. So it's if you camp, you see that all the time. So getting in touch with those guys. And then many people I think have app fatigue. They're just like, they have so many apps. Yeah, I use this, or I got this other app. And so then I kind of have to explain why we're different from a directory.
So why don't you take a moment and tell me?
Yes. So our parks are directly connected in the app. If you see parks that are not, that jump you to an external booking link, it's because they're in the connection cycle.
So I've spent some time noodling around on Spot Tonight. I do notice at this time that which isn't a problem, but all of the campgrounds are all private. Do you have any plans to work with county, state, national forest campgrounds, et cetera?
Yeah, so that's a great question, fair question. And indeed, we do. Right now, we are primarily about building that marketplace, right? So in the big picture of things, okay, we built the grocery store. We talked to the bread manufacturers, these reservation systems. We're getting product on the shelf. And now we're getting customers to stick their head in the store and buy the product. So like you're looking in the store and saying, okay, yeah, I could use this. I see places and that I want to go. Wait a minute, I don't see that flavor of parks, whether it's national parks, or state parks. Well, there's a couple of issues there. Number one, huge bid process, right, to be the vendor of choice. And then to write that into an RFP to get it to an exportable API that then we can offer it up in I get people back to, I hear all day long, oh, that booking system is so awful to work with on national parks or state parks. So I'm going to be presenting those to you in a common operating picture that everybody's familiar with. And so that's where we're at with that. And we've begun discussions again with some of those booking agents that offer some of those lands. And I think I'm hopeful that within the year we may see some movement along that. I'm not certain it'll happen before the summer season, so I wouldn't want to build up hope, but I really think that we're seeing movement because it's where the travelers are. And I think people are frustrated enough that they'll go to these park booking sites that are on the national public lands and they get frustrated. And I think that we'll see a shift in where our systems go.
I want to go back to a little bit about you saying that you're now, I believe, on your fourth RV.
Yep, just sold it actually. So now I'm RV less. I'm looking. So I was looking.
Oh, that's always exciting. And now to be at Tampa.
Actually, I sold it when I was at Hershey. Someone called me from Kansas, and I was flying back from Hershey. They were driving down from Kansas to get it. So that was pretty cool.
Will you share with me about one of your RV trips at some point in your life that didn't go as planned?
You know, I think probably one that happened to me is that I had sold the Super C and then used and had booked a drive-in spot, forward-in spot, right? So really you got to have utilities. This park didn't have utilities on both sides. And then we rented a RV, we used RV Share to have a trailer put on it because I was not giving up the spot at the coveted beach, resort that I was going to. And so then we had the problem of connections on the wrong side and had to step over the sewer line every time we came in and out of the trailer just because of the way it was. And they did not have another spot to move me in. So that's kind of really the only one that I had, knock on wood, never had a flat tire. Okay. I'm pretty meticulous about that. And I kind of mentioned that in some of our discussions before that, I'm kind of a realist, but I'm an extremely prepared guy just because of the military background, that I think that you have to be, if you're taking up camping in an RV, that's kind of the adventure, right? It's the adventure that I have to be prepared. I have to know how to fix some things within my realm and realize that these things they take a beating going down the road, right? I mean, your dishes, they have to be packed for a earthquake ride wherever you go, especially down in Louisiana.
Yep, exactly. How about sharing a lesson that you learned about yourself in the process of creating Spot Tonight?
There's a lot of that's a great question.
Thank you.
So things about myself. So I generally try to be very meticulous, and so I can still do that. I'm sometimes now a little bit less about how we get there as long as we get there. So of course, my teams and I generally work with a lot younger. I'm the old guy on the block, right? So I work with a lot, but so I'm like, okay, I'm fine with all that. This is what the end product's got to look with. Whatever system you're using, whatever analytics you're using, this is what the end product's got to look like. And when we meet with marketing folks and things, I said, this is what the end's got to look like. However you get there, that's fine. And so, I kind of have to let go a little bit on some of that, some of that technique. Of course, in my position, I hire people to do that. So I expect them that they're going to do that and they're going to develop. And certainly since you've noodled around there, our user experience, I think, is second to none.
It's top notch. It is very top notch. Yeah.
I'm going to pass that on to Mike. He's our director of product, and Joel, our director of technology. Those guys they really think about stuff even that I haven't even thought through, yet on the product. I sat there, really, when we first thought this out, Sam and I were brainstorming. I literally basically stood at my kitchen cabinet and kind of went through the booking process, went through the part standing at a cash register in a campground. So much so that, how when you lay out all your membership cards and they say, well, give me that one because it's a better discount. So our logic does that in the system, in the app. If the park offers you membership discounts in the app, it will pick the highest one and apply that discount. So it's just incredibly accurate as to that booking process.
Yeah, and that's very intuitive. That's a great feature for end users. Let's talk about pricing / fee structures. How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't hide parks. We don't charge an annual membership fee. Had a lot of questions about that, certainly this weekend at the show. We charge a little convenience fee on each booking, just as you're accustomed to with Airbnb or DoorDash or any of those guys that say, okay, this is the price for the grocery. This is the price to have it delivered to your house. It's the same. It's the same kind of thing. This is the price of the reservation. Our reservation convenience fee roughly averages about $3 to $5 per night for that reservation duration. And generally, what I see is on a long booking with us, I generally see about $20 as overall, service fee that we charge on there. And I call it a convenience fee. And people that get it, certainly people come to me and say, gladly, that's
right.
I will gladly pay that.
Yep.
To mine. I don't have to, because I had people that were telling me at the show, okay, I'm going to spend all day trying to get a park in Alabama, whatever. I'm going to be on the phone all day waiting for people. I'm going to have a big calendar. I'm going to have my spiral notebook. I'm going to sit in the camper and do it. I said, you can do that, or you can just pick this up and do map view and see all of the different, parks that have available there and book right now. Yeah. And you're only going to see the ones that have availability.
Right. So you're not wasting your time. I mean, right.
You're not wasting your time. You're enjoying the campground. I have a feeling that, and I know there are people sitting by the fireside trying to figure out where they're going to move that bus to next. They're missing out on the beautiful views. They're missing out on that time.
Can you share with us what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I kind of touched on it earlier. I talked to a lot of new travelers, right? In fact, at the show, people would say, well, we don't have an RV. And it's okay, let's just put in 20-foot travel trailer. It's one of the most common out there. And so you buy this travel trailer and just keep in mind that now you have all of these things, dishes, coffee pots, laundry, bottles of soap, all of that in there. And you're going to put it in the box and you're going to drive it down the road at 65, 70 miles an hour. Things are going to break. Things are going to go wrong. Be prepared. And don't be frustrated. Just be prepared. Have your go kit, talk to the senior travelers and ask them what's in their repair kit, whether it's duct tape or, the weatherproofing tape or Gorilla Glue, whatever your preference is. Just make sure it's in there. And then in life, like I said, from my mom says, don't burn your bridges. You may have to cross them again.
Well, Terry, is there anything that I didn't ask or that you would like to discuss?
Yeah, sure. I would just remind your travelers, just give it a shot. Go in there. The easiest thing is to download the app, Android or Apple, and hit the build your profile out, save your profile, so that I know what type of RV to put in the square when you're asking me, and then just hit the search RV parks near me. It will default to tonight because again, that's how we built it, but you can go as far forward as you like. But just hit that one button and let it do its analysis just to see. Keep your filters loose getting started. Just do water, electric, sewer, 30 or 50 amp. Don't put bocce ball in there just yet till you get accustomed to the power of the search engine and see the results and play with it. And if you love it, email me. If you don't like it, email me as well. Tell me about it. Tell me what you thought. And it's real simple, Terry@spottonight.com.
And Terry, where can people find Spot Tonight website and social media and all that stuff?
So we are, of course, active on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us on both those platforms, and all those links and shares are on our website at spottonight.com. We've got a growing blog postings that we do of RV related topics. Generally, you can search for podcasts such as yourself and find stories and get to hear from me again in different formats. We also have a program of RV Spot Tonight ambassadors where you can refer a park and earn a travel credit. And then we're also looking for advocates, which are a little bit more of a time commitment. I don't want to say almost full time. I think some people could do it full time as our advocate program rolls out. And you'll have a set geographic region to work to kind of recruit these parks in the areas.
Well, Terry, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to join us. Thank you for your service to our country. And it was a real honor and a pleasure to speak with you today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Brooks. And again, just look, book, and go on Spot Tonight.
Thank you so much for listening. To help the show grow, please share with your RVing friends and family about this podcast. If you have an idea for a topic you'd like me to discuss, please contact me via rvoutwest.com. And sticking with the solutions to booking RV trip reservations, in our next episode in 2 weeks, we will be chatting with a software developer who has created a way for you to get alerts sent directly to you that will tell you when a campground reservation has been canceled for a specific date range, and even if a specific site has been canceled, so that you may go in and book that spot. Let the reservation games continue. Now, get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon. Thanks so much for listening to RV Out West. Join us again in 2 weeks with our next episode. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or wherever you choose to get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And I sure would appreciate if you left a rating or a review of the show. Special thanks to Scott Holmes Music for providing the intro song, We Are One. RV Out West can be found on Instagram and Facebook, where you can interact with us and follow along on our RV adventures around the Pacific Northwest. So get out there, explore, and go see what's beyond the horizon.